Yes, it is started. Over to Faisal.
Yes. Good afternoon, everyone, dear fellow Toastmasters. Welcome to our first Toastmaster meeting this year from 010 Toastmaster Rotterdam. My name is Faisal Irzal. I'm basically not yet a member of Toastmaster. It's a long story, but today I was actually requested to become a Toastmaster of the day. Um, well, today's meeting is about Toastmaster, and then it is January. The meeting theme will be then it is January. 2020 is a history, and January has come, and we should make another history, correct? So the first day of 2021 should be, we should make, we should open a book and then write our story. And I hope this first Toastmaster evening will be a good story for all of us. Agree? All right. So today's agenda, we have quite a number of speakers. And I see from my understanding, we already have 4 speakers in the room. But before going to introduce one by one of the speaker, I would like to introduce the role takers for today. And we understood that the timer would be the R counter, Sina, correct? Sina, could you probably explain what would be the role?
Yeah, my role is today actually, I used to be a hard counter, but as Fred said, I'm not going to be a hard counter. I will be a timer. It seems to be more important. My role is just record your times, and what I will do is basically I will show a card when I will start. I will show you a green screen on my phone. When you, as a speaker, for example, I will show you a screen after just 1 second. Sorry. So you have a green and an amber and a red state, and I will when I show the green one, that means you have a couple of minutes left to finish, and when it's red, that means your time is over, and you should finish your talk. That's it, actually.
All right, thank you very much. And I understood also there will be a quiz master. So let's give a big applause to Els as a quiz master. Maybe you should explain what it's all about.
Yes, hello everybody. It's always good to see you and welcome to 010 Toastmaster Club. Now, for a couple of months, we have actually added a quiz to the agenda. And it goes as follows. There is a theme. I ask 3 questions. You can answer. And at the end of the meeting, we come back and we inquire how much you remember as answers of the questions. Now, I'm very happy that we have James here. He is from Ireland, and certain of the expressions will be clear to him, if not to somebody else. Because my quiz today is about how can I make the speech most lively? And for that, we can use some, I would say, almost tricks, almost some elements of English. So, for instance, to embellish a speech, we can use alliteration. Now, who knows what alliteration is? Yes, Dave, please. Welcome.
Yes, hello. So alliteration is like a repetition of the same letter in a string of words. Like, for instance, kangaroos kick the kite.
Yes. So you hear each time the k, k, k cloud sound. I had here brilliant barbecue burgers, BBB. Okay? So if you use that in a speech, it will be particularly attractive to the listener. But we can also make a story more colorful with a simile. Does somebody know what a simile is? Do I see a hand? Somebody raises a hand? No? James? Dave?
Yeah, so a simile is when you describe something using like or as in order to draw a comparison, such as the sun was as golden as a shiny statue or something of that nature.
Yes. For instance, if you talk about a famous swimmer, and there must be Olympic swimmers, you could say, he really swims or swam like a fish. Obviously, the person is never a fish, but you compare him to something else. Okay? So, last but not least, we can improve even further by using a metaphor. Perhaps that's the more easy comparison. Does somebody know what a metaphor is?
Else,
Tina.
I think a metaphor is a sort of speaking as a it takes you I call it a metaphor. It embodies what you like. I don't know how to pronounce it. A metaphor is like you look at something and you imagine a vision with it. So this I don't know the exact description.
Well, yeah, you somehow compare it with something.
Yes.
Or you can say a person has a color, say Eliza's headscarf actually has such a nice blue color, it brightens our mood, right? So that is somehow where you bring in a metaphor. Does somebody have a better example? No? I can't see the reactions as such. Are some people familiar with it from Toastmaster speeches? The alliteration, the simile, or the metaphor? Yes, Faisal?
Yeah. Well, probably we will have some of these during the one of the speakers, right?
Yes.
Thank you. Right, thank you, Els. Now let's, well, last but not least, that Craig has just, what is actually requested me to become an to have an A counter. Maybe Craig, you can explain what is A count, what is A counter.
Thank you very much, fellow Toastmasters. For the all counter, I'll be watching out for the ahs, ums, and ers within your speeches or table topics today, as well as any uses of repetitive words like I, and you know, and you know. Thank you very much, and back to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you, Craig. Appreciate it. Well, let's jump into the speaker. Our first speaker will present her speech from Presentation Mastery on researching and presenting. The purpose of the speech is to research and present an unfamiliar topic, organize the speech clearly to maximize the audience understanding, craft clear and engaging transitions between main sections your speech, use and cite sources to support speech content, make source lists available. And the title of her speech is Let's Celebrate the 10th December. Let's give a big warm applause to Stefanie Lemke.
Thank you. So I shared the source list with Dominica and Fred. Have you received it? Yes, okay, good. Well, let's start then. Well, dear fellow Toastmasters and dear distinguished guests, well, and then it is January. Let me first say how delighted I am to see all of you again and also to see some new faces, and Happy New Year to all of you. Today, I would like to talk about the 10th of December. Does anyone know what happens on the 10th of December? Anyone? Okay, then I will explain. The 10th of December is the annual Human Rights Day, the Human Rights Day. It is used worldwide to organize marches and protests to address global human rights issues. It is also used to educate the public about issues of concern. And each year it is used and dedicated to another human rights theme. But you may also ask yourself now, why the 10th of December? The 10th of December was the day when the United Nations adopted the first human rights document, the UN Declaration of Human Rights. And this was on the 10th of December, 1948. This document was a milestone because it was the very first document which set out some universal rights, which means rights which are inherent to all of us, regardless our nationality, our skin color, religion, language, or any other status. Those are fundamental rights, for instance, like the right to life, and also other rights which make life more worth living, like the right to education and also the right to food. And according to the UN High Commissioner of Human Rights, the Declaration of Human Rights is the most translated document worldwide, being available in more than 500 languages. So, but now you ask you probably yourself, oh, after 70 years after this document has been adopted, is there still a need to address human rights and to have an annual Human Rights Day? And my answer is yes, there is. And in this context, I would like to quote Eleanor Roosevelt. Eleanor Roosevelt was the First Lady of the US and also a political activist on her own. And she asked, where, after all, do human rights begin? And she also had the answer. And she said, at very small places close to home, so close and so small that you cannot even see them on any map of the world. And unless human rights have meaning there, they have little meaning anywhere. So look, for instance, currently at the killing of George Floyd, the Me Too movement, or modern slavery, which is quite common nowadays, and supply chains of major fashion brands, or the gender pay gap. For instance, in the Netherlands, the gender pay gap between men and women, according to the National Office of Statistics, is 38%. As you can imagine, last year's Human Rights Day was dedicated to the COVID-19 pandemic. The pandemic did not only cause many people to become very ill or die, also many people lost their income and their job due to COVID-19 shortages. It deepened poverty, it raised inequalities, and also entrenched discrimination. So the last year's Human Rights Day was dedicated to addressing and ending all kinds of discrimination, also addressing more effectively inequality and also encouraging everyone to solidarity and participation. So to conclude, I would like to encourage all of you to commence to celebrate each year the Day of Human Rights, the 10th of December.
Thank you very much, Stefanie. I would suggest you, everyone can send Stefanie the evaluation, and I will give you 1 minute to send the evaluation slip. Timer, please give me 1 minute. All right. All right, thank you. Again, thank you very much, Stefanie, for your speech. It's very relatable to current situation as well, especially with the gender pay gap. Let's move to the second speaker. Our second speaker will give a speech from the presentation mastery, the icebreaker. The purpose of the speech is deliver a speech on any topic as an introduction to the club using any style that appeals. I understood that this would be the second pathway from Marin Jonker, and the title of his speech is A Guitarist. Please give a big warm applause to Marin.
Thank you, Faisal. And indeed, this is my second icebreaker, which I hold here at the 010 Toastmasters. And yeah, I'm very happy to do that here. So when you told me, my family, when I was a little boy, that I should be a member of a speaking club like Toastmaster and even become a president and area director, they would say you totally lost your mind. Marin, he is not a speaker. No. So for who not know me, I am Marin Jonker. I live here in this small apartment in Rotterdam, together with my husband. We married a few years ago. And one of the things I like is that I like to play the guitar. Music was something very important in my family. They say, or we say, it is the language of the feeling. When you play sad, you will feel sad. When you play happy, you will feel happy. Everyone in the world understands this language. And as a child, I could choose which instrument I wanted to play. And every instrument belongs to a special character. It has a character itself. And as a child, I knew directly which instrument was for me. And that was the guitar. Because I am still a bit a shy man, and especially as a child, not only shy, but also very silent. I could say things, but it was difficult to have a conversation with me. I should respond on the questions with a single yes or a no. And my parents they worried a little bit. What should become of this boy? And they were also a bit right about it, because I did get a little bit of trouble with it. When I grew older, when I did go to the high school, I did not know how to speak with my classmates, and I was a bit loner. And that's like the guitar. Did you ever see a guitar in an orchestra? No. That is because it is hard to make noise with it. It is a soft instrument. You have to work hard to make any sound. And that I had to do also with my speaking skills. I worked hard to speak with others, to get conversations with others. But when I worked hard, I loved to speak with them. And I was proud that I became so far, that I was normal like the others. And I wish it stayed like that. But when I grew again a bit older, I found a job. And the job was consultant in the IT. And as a consultant, you have to be a very good communicator. And it was a little bit too much for me. My employer asked me to tell the customers what I could do. Tell them how beautiful you can play. Tell them, and then you will get that project. But I was still a bit shy, and I failed that a few times. And so after that, I could feel their disappointment. And I did get projects where I did not have to speak myself in. And that were not the best projects. And there I also lost, how I wanted to be. And I cannot blame my employer. He did see the music in me, but he thought me to let me play violin instead of the guitar. And then I met Ismail. And Ismail, he told me about Toastmasters. It was 3 years ago, and I became member of the Dutch-speaking club in Rotterdam, the Sprekershaven. And there I learned a lot. It went better with me again. I learned how fun it was to speak with others, to hear other stories. I learned that I could be a president by being how I am. I like to be at the background and to support everyone. That's how I have to communicate. And now I'm presenting the speech here at the English Club, because I also want to learn this same skills in English. And I think it is very important to keep training, to keep becoming better. And I hope I will be a good speaker for a long time. And I hope I will be a Toastmaster also for a long time to learn these skills.
Thank you very much, Marin. That's very, very inspiring and speech for tonight. Can I give 1 minute for evaluation, please? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Our third speaker will present the speech from Dynamic Leadership, and the evaluation and feedback. The purpose of the speech is to present either a new speech or of the same speech that incorporates same or all of the feedback received from the presentation of the first speech. The title of the speech is How I Met 2200 in 1 Month Free, Summer Time, Part 2.2. Please give a big applause to Daniel Zhao.
Thank you, dear Toastmaster. So let me try to repeat the title. It's How I Managed to Make 2,200 euros in 1 month summer free time. Before I start, let me double check. How many of you were here in my first speech? Please raise a hand maybe. Okay, I see 5 of you. Okay, just to do a little bit of a recap. Last time I was talking about how I got inspired when I was just randomly watching an American episode about how a real story, a guy, he managed to flip cars and made $10,000 out of $1,000. And I was thinking, okay, what is the, so that is the American version because cars are very popular over there, right? So what is the Dutch version? What is the Dutch commodity, which is very often we use every day? Do you guys have an idea? For those who are not in the my speech last time, maybe you want to type in the chat. In the meanwhile, I will share my screen. please feel free to type in the chat if you can guess what it is. Scooter. Oh, almost there. Yes. So I think you guys can already see my screen. So that's how about the bikes. So last time I was talking about that, I think, okay, we have Dutch have bikes almost every day. I mean, we have 60 million people and 17 million bikes. So I've managed to find this kind of bike storage and bought 20 bikes and put them all in my garage like this. And I thought, okay, this is going to be a good idea because I live close to Erasmus and I have a friend who's very good in bikes. And let's say, okay, I buy these 20 bikes and I sell for 100 euro per bike and then we can make a lot of money. And I was saying, okay, we can have Tesla next year. But of course, it's not as easy as expected. There's a huge gap between the dream versus reality. The first difficulty which we had, as you can see from the picture, right? And of course, this is not the complete picture, but as you can see, these bikes are not complete. There's quite still some work to do. And originally what we confirmed is that I'm gonna be the guy who's doing the selling and my friend is gonna be the guy who's doing the fixing. But now I understand what it means by work-life balance because my friend, he got a family, he got a kid, and he only gets 15 days holiday every year. So the moment when we received all these bikes, that was already the end of his holiday. And I was saying, okay, then what's the next time you're gonna come over? Let's try to fix these bikes and sell them. And he said, yeah, Daniel, of course I can. I'll come back to you every day after work. Every evening and every weekend I will come over and try to fix the bikes for you. And I was waiting for him a few days and no response. Only 3 days later, he come back with his kid. And his kid's name is Jay. And they say, okay, let's try to balance the work and life. But because his kid, Jay, is very young, I think 5 years old, and his kid tried to play around with us, right? So it's literally took me 30 minutes to pass on a WD-40 to my friend. So in the end, it really didn't work out. And my gut feeling tells me that, yeah, it's very seasonal business because summer it's going to be over and many students are coming. If I wasn't able to fix these bikes, we cannot sell them either. So what I did next, as you can see, I posted on Facebook. By the way, I hardly use the social media, but it's one of the first times I use it. I posted over here, I'm willing to pay 15 euros per hour for some mechanic to fix the bike. Meaning if someone come over at 9 o'clock and finish at 5 o'clock, I'm gonna give away 100 euro of cash straight away. And if someone is a really good mechanic, I'm willing to pay 20 euro per hour. And I posted a picture over here. It's actually much better than I expected. There's many people contacting me and there's one mechanic who's experienced and he's been doing 3 years straight away only for bikes. and he's single, so he didn't have this work-life balance thing. So what we did is that he come over, and then we just took 3 days, and then that's him, by the way. He's fixing all the bikes and taking some pictures, and then boom, we have all these shining bikes lying over there. So you might think, okay, that's problem solved, easy, right? Not really. So that's only the make part. You first make the product, and you still need to sell the product. And again, that's another lesson for me, because as an over-optimistic entrepreneur, you will say, yeah, it's a dream, let's turn into reality, and people can buy it. And because I live in Kapelsberg, for those of you who live in Rotterdam, you know it's very close to Erasmus, right? Just 1 metro stop away. So I think, okay, let me just invite all these students come over and see these bikes. And I remember it took me a few days for Erasmus students to come over, and I was again using this WD-40 to spray the bikes in the front tire and the seat to make them shiny, right? But the students asking me, how much is a bike? I said, 100 euro. And she said, well, let me think about it. Let me think about it. And she went away. And then I realized, wow, it's not the case, because Rotterdam is so big and the competition is huge. There are a lot of suppliers as well. So it spent me 1 week to wait, and still there's just one girl who came but didn't buy anything. Now I'm thinking, oh, is there anything else I can do to solve this? Because Rotterdam is really no way to sell the bikes. And now we're thinking, okay, I've managed to find this business partner, or you say working partner, from Facebook, who is based in another city. By the way, he's based in Dordrecht. So we're thinking, okay, if I can manage to find a partner in another city, am I possible to find my customer in another city as well? So what I did is I've managed to look up and find a university which is close to Rotterdam, but also super huge. And it is Delft, right? Delft, Technical University of Delft. So what I did is that I've added many Chinese WeChat groups and then posted over there all these shiny bikes. And guess what? Just within this 1 or 2 hours, there's 30 response come back to me. And yeah, even because this frequent responding message, I even designed an SOP, standard operating procedure, to respond these messages. Because all these people would say, okay, what's the height of this bike? What is the, how much is the price? What are the functions? Is it a handbrake or pedal brake, etc., etc. So then the last thing which we need to solve is just about the logistics, right? Because it's far away, it's in Delft, far away from Rotterdam. And of course, that's just the last problem. And it's not so significant. So what I did is have a very small car, and I've managed to disassemble all the front tires, every bike, and I put them in my car and then deliver them. So in the end, here's what happens. Every day, so in the end, this is what happens. Every day in the early morning, 9 o'clock, he arrives, and then he fixes the bikes. And then I start putting on these lights, and then putting on the seats, and then do all the cleaning and spray WD-40 on every bike. And then afterwards, I'll do some selling. And then at the end of the day, we pack all the bikes, and then afterwards, drive all the way together to Delft. So in the last 2 weeks of August, we sell on average 3 bikes every day for the 2 weeks. And these are all the bikes we've sold, because I need to send a picture to this, and you can see the price tag over there as well. So yeah, in the end, we've managed to sell 39 bikes in August and made a revenue of 5,000 euros. And yeah, it's going to be it was a very good, interesting journey. And he was still coming back to me and saying, hey, Daniel, what's the time? Let's do this kind of exercise again. So that's, I would say, in a nutshell, my general story about how I've made $2,200 out euros out of 1 month summer free time. And as you can see, I would say just turning an idea to reality is not as easy as we thought, but it's not so difficult as well if we take step by step. So next time, if any of you thought of any crazy or random ideas, or if any of you are approached by me for this kind of random ideas, I would invite you to embrace it, and let's make another 2,200 euros together in a month. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Daniel. Such a great story and very inspiring to become an entrepreneur. 1 minute for evaluation. Sleep, please. All right, thank you. Our fourth speaker will speak from the Dynamic Leadership book 1.4, Research and Presenting. The purpose of the speech is to research and present an unfamiliar topic, organize the speech clearly to maximize the audience understanding, craft clear and engaging transitions between main sections of your speech, use and cite sources to support speech content, make source lists available. The title of the speech is Phrases That Can Be Used to Manipulate You. Please welcome Cecil Westerhoff. Please unmute, Cecil.
That better?
Yes.
First of all, it's not a pathways speech. It is a general speech. So, for otherwise people don't understand my speech. In my speech, I will share 3 phrases that can be used to manipulate you. And you have to be careful about the nuance. I say can be used to manipulate you. So when you hear a phrase like this, you have to be alert, but not immediately assume that the other person wants to manipulate you. And if you conclude, yes, he or she is manipulating me, also take care how you react. For example, with your boss, you have to be a little bit more careful as with a salesperson. The first phrase that can be used to manipulate you. But you said! It's very popular with salespeople. You want to buy a new car, and the salesperson is very nice to you, is interested in you, asks everything from you. So you think, well, he's really interested in me. And then you decide on a certain type of car, and you say, well, I want that car. And then the salesperson says, but you said that you liked that feature. This car does not have that feature, but that car has the feature, so you should buy that car. And because we like to be consistent, often we respond on the suggestion of the salesperson. But first of all, as human beings, we are not always consistent. And probably you are consistent. So you could respond to the salesperson with, yes, I know that that feature is very important for me. But if I buy the car you want me to buy, I have to pay 10,000 euros more. And that's that feature not worth to me. And that should be the end of it. The second phrase that can be used to manipulate you is, I would never. For example, I would never buy Apple products. But that does not mean that you should also never buy an Apple product if I not can substantiate it. Why you should not buy an Apple product? I can, but not now. So next time, if someone uses I would never and expect you then also never to do that and has nothing to back it up, just ignore it. The third phrase that can be used to manipulate you is don't throw away. And with this one, you have to be very careful. It's a bit tricky because it's also often used by people who love and care for you. An example, say you worked for 20 years at a certain company and you have a very good paycheck because you rose in the ranks of the company. But the last 5 years, there has been a big change in the company culture and you always stressed, not only at your work, but also at home. Even in the weekends, you are stressed because of your work. So you decide, I'm going to do a complete different job. And then people can say to you, don't throw away the paycheck you have. If you take that other work, you have to take a big pay cut. Well, if it's your boss who's saying that to you, he's manipulating you. But if it's our family or friends who are saying that to you, that is probably because they love and care for you and are afraid that you don't know the consequences of changing jobs. So explain to them, yes, I do know that I have to take a pay cut, but I also will lose a lot of stress, and losing this stress is more as worth the pay cut. And if they really love you and want to take care of you, they will respect that. Recapitulating. In this speech, I showed you 3 phrases that can be used to manipulate you. The first phrase is, but you said. Just accept the inconsistency or explain why there is no inconsistency. The second phrase is, I would never. If that's the only thing the other person says, and that should be enough to also not do that, just ignore it. The third phrase was, don't throw away. And that could be tricky because people who love you say that, and just explain to them why you throw away what you shouldn't throw away. With this speech, I hope I give you some tools that will help you not to be manipulated as often as in the past. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Cecil. Shall we give 1 minute evaluation? All right, thank you very much. So 4 speakers have been performed their speech, and now we are going to the most exciting part of the meeting. It is the table topics. And for today's table topics, will be led by our table topics master, is Metehan Korkmasel. Metehan, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Well, hello everyone. Today's theme is and then it's January again, which means that according to the Gregorian calendar, our world has completed a full circle around our sun, which means a year has passed. Happy New Year, everyone. So let's admit, for most of us, 2020 wasn't the best year, and it still kind of feels like an extended March, but nevertheless, it's a new year. And you can't think a year without New Year's resolutions. So I want to ask you your New Year's resolutions for today. So any volunteers? Anybody? Yes, Fred. Great. So
I want to
Thanks.
lose 40 kilos.
Okay. What was the question? Because
so part of your New Year's resolutions. So assuming as this year's resolution, you say this year I'll change one thing, which is X. What is this X and why? So what do you want to change this year and why?
what I want to change is something a lot of people make New Year's resolution for, and that's my weight. It's connected to my health, and of course, due to several reasons, I gained more weight. Of course, also due to Corona, but also to the fact that I'm sitting at home. I became lazy, and I'm now so much overweight that my trousers don't fit anymore. So it's not about doing things for one time, but it's changing your lifestyle. And in my case is when you come to a conclusion, it's not only about losing weight, it's about change a lifestyle, and you have to build this up. So start the right way with your new habits.
Thank you. No. Great to hear that I'm not the only one. Corona also hit me hard with my eating schedules. So who is the second volunteer? Yes, Tori.
Yes, can I? Good evening, everybody. At first, my plan for this year.
Sorry, should I phrase it, or like would you like to go with whatever resolution you have?
Yes, I have a resolution.
Perfect.
I think I the same as Fred also to my weight. It's not like Fred told already. It's about losing weight. It's changing your habit, your lifestyle. And the second one is for the Toastmaster, because I see for my job that I a little bit shy with speak it with more people. So one of my resolution for this year is to overcome my shy reserve. This is to my resolution for this year.
Great, nice, thank you.
Yes.
I think by joining Toastmasters, you're already on the way. So for the last question, any volunteers? Perfect. Hi, Dave. So assuming you say this year I want to stop doing something, what is that thing and why?
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Table Topics Master, fellow Toastmasters, and honored guests. This year, I would like to stop being impatient. I think in the past, I have found that I like to get things quickly, and I can't stand when others procrastinate or take long or draw things out. I feel like I want to have some control over situations that are often outside of my control. But I also need to not be abrasive with others and not get too in their face, so to speak, to the point where you end up doing more harm than good. I think all of us can take a page out of that book and take it relax, and realize that some things are not often as important as you make them out to be. And that we also have to understand what others are going through or what may be holding them back, and be a little bit more constructive in saying, what can I do to help make this easier for you? Rather than, why haven't you done this yet? Because when we take the latter approach instead of the former, we put people against and we demotivate them, and we fail to achieve our desired goal. So that's something I'm personally working on, because my patience has not always been great with many people. I know it can be better. Thank you, Mr. Topics Master.
Oh, that resonates well. Thanks a lot. Any more volunteers for the last one? No? No? So let's beat then. Let's keep it in 3 questions if no volunteers. Oh, okay. Perfect. Elisa. Nice. Thanks a lot. So this year you want to learn something. What is that thing and why?
Thank you, Mr. Tobil Topic. Am I audible? Everybody can hear me?
Yes.
Am I
Exactly.
clear?
Yeah, you're clear.
For 2021, the things that I want to learn is how to be grateful and accepting everything with a big heart. Because so far I know that whatever happened, we always have a grumpy time, we always have a sad time, then we never accept everything with a big heart. So one of the things that in 2021 that I really want to learn is to accept everything that happened in life, and everything that happened is with the big, great heart and gratitude. Whatever happened, I want just to say, thank you, God, for these things, even it's a bad things, but I know it's going to have better things waiting for me behind the road. So I just believe that whatever happened, we need to find the rainbow after whatever happened, the incident happened to us. Seems like when we say about the corona, we always think it's a very bad things, and we are always sad about the corona things. But actually behind the corona things, there is so many good things that we can be grateful. So I just want to learn how to be grateful in 2021. Thank you. Back to you, Table Topic Master.
Thanks a lot. So that was it. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to discuss with you about this nice resolutions. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Metan, and thank you for all table topic speakers. You're really good at giving that, answering those questions with us, something that we can learn together. Toastmaster is also about evaluation. If we want to improve ourselves, we need to be evaluated. And today we will have our evaluator for the speakers. Our first evaluator is Dominica Tess. Is that, do we have?
No, she's replaced by James.
Oh, James, okay, sorry. Sorry, then the first speaker will be evaluated by James. Did I see him? Yeah, James, yes, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Sorry about that confusion. So I'm evaluating Stefanie's speech. So the purpose of this project is for the member to learn or review basic research methods and present a well-organized, well-researched speech on any topic. So let's get rid of this. Then get out of this. So Stefanie, well done on a very good speech. And again, this is my opinion on your speech, and the whole purpose of evaluation is to give feedback to the speaker so they can improve on their speech for further speeches. So what I liked is you started off with some audience interaction, and you explained why you picked the 10th of December and how relevant that is, Human Rights Day. And you asked the audience, did they know of that? You explained where it came about, the United Nations in 1948, and a milestone. You also quoted Eleanor Roosevelt. You gave a statistic that is relevant to your own country. I presume you're from the Netherlands, Stefanie?
No, I'm German.
Oh, German. Okay, sorry,
Yeah,
sorry.
but I live
Sorry.
here.
Yeah, okay, yeah, no, that's perfect. Like, so you gave a quotation, a stat there that it's relevant to the Netherlands about the gender pay gap. And you also were very articulate and clear in your speech. So room for improvement. At the time, I think you came up short. I didn't actually get the timer report on the length of time, but you could have spoken, I think, for another 2 or 3 minutes, if I'm right there. So if you are given, you were given 5 to 7 minutes. So I would say always use up your time allocated to you, because we, as an audience, could have learned more about this, and you could have kind of fleshed out the speech more to make it, I suppose, more interesting, but it's only a small thing. And as we're on Zoom now on a video platform, and hopefully we'll return to an in-room meeting. And I think it would be a very good speech actually here in an in-room, but where you were positioned at the start of the meeting, maybe you were a bit nervous, you were just kind of fidgeting with your hands. It's something I do as well. Like, I was giving a speech the other night and I said I had a biro on my hand during the speech, but you were just a bit distracted at the start, but that's only a minor thing. But like, to conclude, Stefanie, I think definitely your voice is very clear. Your English was very good. I didn't notice any grammar mistakes. It was very fluent, and you were very articulate. And again, just to conclude, I wish you best luck with the rest of your speeches in Toastmasters. So thanks, Stefanie.
Oh, thank you so much, James.
Thank you, James. Our second evaluator is Fred. Fred will be evaluating the second speaker, and that is Marin Jonker. Fred, the floor is yours. Please unmute yourself.
Yes, still forget to mute myself. Okay, Marin, you are a little bit longer in Toastmasters. You started at the Dutch side, and now you're starting with an evaluation icebreaker with the English one. First, I want to look at what you excelled. You excelled at using variation in your tone, slight variation, and bringing the speech in a manner that it caught the attention. So it was nice to hear, it was calm, and it was good to understand. However, what you made the way to work on, especially since you're already an experienced speaker, you try to work on the flow of your speech. Because your sentences are very short, you're speaking a little bit hacking, and try to make the sentence somewhat longer and try to let the sentences flow over into each other. So, and prepare speech like a flow. That makes it more. It doesn't look that bad. It looks more fluently then. So work on the fluently going of your speech. And to challenge yourself is you are sitting down, so to make more use of gestures when you are speaking, but also try to use the variation in volume, and some points a longer pause, longer, smaller, and also try to bring expressions in your face, like looking and eyes, because that is how you can make a difference in your speeches. So that's so make the try the variation an audible variations. You can hear it, volume high, bring the emotion also into your voice. That's what I wanted to know. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Fred. Very great evaluation. I hope Marin can receive that way. Our third evaluation would be else. Sorry, the third evaluator will be given by else. Else will evaluate our third speaker. That is Daniel Zhao. Else, the floor is yours.
A picture is worth 1,000 words. Dear Daniel, your pictures were so good. They immediately gave us a feel of your story. What were you trying to do? The first pictures, all those old bikes, no guess anymore what you were up to. Now, this is the second time you give the speech, and I was fortunate enough to hear the first time. I can see that you took into account what you heard the first time. For instance, the introduction, where came the origin idea from, was much shorter. You mentioned it. You said, yeah, there is a famous presenter, he had this idea, I felt I could repeat or use something similar. That was just enough. So well done. The pictures instead of props were also better this time than last time. What you brought along, and which we see every time, is the easy flow in which you actually talk. You have a very good presence online. It looks as if you are so comfortable speaking for the camera. It's a joy to see. And as an experienced Toastmaster, of course, you bring the story with humor. You can actually pull us in the story by the way you phrase it. If I might like to give you a challenge, it's that your speech goes rather smoothly, but I see hardly any build-up. So what I would like you to try as a challenge is that you take a story and you build it up, and you build it up, and you each time bring the tension higher, and that we can see that in vocal variety, potentially as well as in words. I think that somehow will increase your speaker abilities. Just a suggestion. Otherwise, even for the second time, it remains an awful good story. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Els. Very well spoken evaluation. Our last evaluator is Eliza. The floor is yours, all the way from Singapore.
Thank you very much, everyone. Especially for you, Cecil, it's a very nice speech. And for your evaluation, I want to use the concept of sandwich. So 2 bread and the layer inside. As you know, the most ingredient of the sandwich is the bread. So the bread is what I like about your speech. I like how you deliver your speech. You say it and speak it with a more confident. And I know that the way you craft your speech, I know that you're crafting it well and you already prepare. And it's a very good one because you give a structure from the first one, but you say, I will never, and don't throw away. You actually already give a great example. And I like the way how you engage with the audience, with the statement, what can be used to manipulate. So when we heard it, we already think what is actually can be manipulated. And it's totally a different things compared to what we think about what the things to be manipulated. What is the 3 sentences? The second things, the most ingredients that put inside the sandwich that can make your sandwich nicer or worse. Something that I want to suggest for you, I know that you are trying to put a bit vocal variety, but it's not strong enough. Something like when you say about this, but you like that features. In your speech, you just say, but you like that features. How about if you make it stronger? You say you like that features, so people will more engage and the speech will be more interacting. Then for your gesture, I like your gesture, but you stand very far away from the camera. So maybe you can be a little bit nearer to the camera. I know Zoom is sometimes can be a little bit hard. And try to have the eye contact with the audience by looking only at the camera. So it will be more engaging to us. And the last part, conclusion, and the last bit, I love your speech. I know you are a great speaker. I really love to hear all the speaks. And I know you give a good gesture. I love that. And you speak with stand up. It really shows us that you really, when you are stand up, you show that you respect your speech and you want people to hear. It is one thing that I really like when people stand up when they speak. So back to you. Congratulations again, Cecil. I hope to hear more of your speech. And back to you, Tabletop Toastmaster of the day. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Eliza. Very spot on evaluation. All right. So I hope we can all learn from the evaluators that what they have been talking about. And we come to the other evaluation is the timer, how good we are with the time. Our timer, Sina?
Yes.
Very sure.
I will start with you, Faisal, as a Toastmaster. You started with when you start speaking, it was around 1 minute and 57 seconds. And for the rest of the roles, I missed actually to put the timer on because timer role was for me unexpected. And from the first speaker, Stefanie, I recorded again. It was 4 minutes and 42 seconds. And for Greg, this second speaker, excuse me, I just made a mistake, I think. Yeah, the first speaker was exactly 4.42 seconds. And for the second speaker, for Marin, I have 6 minutes and 10 seconds. And for Daniel, I have 8.57 seconds. It was a bit longer. 8.57 seconds, Daniel. And Cecil, you had 6.11 seconds. And the first quiz, table topic quiz, the first one was 2.48. And the second one was 1.07 seconds. And the third one was 2.32. And fourth quiz was 2.18 seconds. And for the evaluators, the first evaluator, James, he had 3.11 seconds. And Fred, the second evaluator, he had 2.11 seconds. And Els, the third evaluator, she had 3.38 seconds. And Eliza, fourth evaluator, she had 2.54 seconds. Thank you. Back to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you, Sina, for the evaluation of the time. And now we come to the R counter. Greg, how are we doing with the and the filler words of the day?
Thank you very much, Toastmaster of the day, Cecil. and fellow Toastmasters, ladies and gentlemen, have you ever had an interaction with someone who was not very fluent in the language? Perhaps an exchange with a small vendor when traveling in another country. Or maybe you were the person who was not very fluent, something that happens a lot to me when I try to speak the local language. It's an incredibly frustrating experience for both the listener and the speaker. When we use filler words like you know, etc. in our speeches, they affect our fluency too. And the impact on the listeners is much more worse because presentations and speeches are mostly one-way communications with limited scope for the listener to clarify their doubts. It is therefore very important that we refrain from using these filler words when talking to our audience. I will now commence with my all-counter report. Starting off with our Toastmaster of the day, Cecil, you were almost perfect. You had one Speaker number 1, Stefanie, she had 2 wells and 2 so's. Speaker number 2, Marin, she had 4 so's, 1 but, and 9 ands. Speaker number 3, Daniel, 1 2 1 well, more than 15 so's, 1 but, and 7 ands. Speaker number 4, Cecil, 1 2 wells, 8 so's, 3 buts, 2 ands. Our table topics master for this evening, Marin, you had 3 8 so's, 1 but, 2 ands. Our first table topic participant, Fred, you almost perfect. You had 1 so. Dodie, our table topics participant number 2, you had 2 and 1 so and 1 and. Our third table topic participant, Dave, you were almost perfect. You just had 1 and. Elisa, as our fourth table topic speaker, you had 4 so's. Then for our speech evaluations, our speech evaluator number 1, James, you had 10 so's and 9 ands. Our speech evaluator number 2, Fred, you had 5 and 1 and. Our speech evaluator number 3, Elise, you were almost perfect. You just had 1 so. And then for our speech evaluator number 4, Elisa, you had 2 so's. We've had a contest this evening. All in all, we had 12 3 5 wells, a grand total of 61 so's, 6 buts, and 32 ands. As anyone knows, I've been doing this since March 12th. I always give this as a masterclass report. I'll leave you with this advice. One of those, as you know, is always to practice, practice, practice. But also, collect your thoughts. If you lose your train of thought, a pause gives you time to get back on track. As long as the pause isn't too long, more than 5 seconds, the audience won't hold it against you. And second, as I always say with my theater background, build that suspense. Pauses are always a defensive tactic. Strategically placed silence can build suspense, emphasize a point, or give the audience time to absorb a key insight. Thank you very much, and back to you, Toastmaster Cecil.
Thank you, Craig. What a wonderful evaluation you gave on the R counter. This is the first time I heard the evaluation of the R counter just like you did. Excellent. Great. I hope we can all learn from it. Let's come to the next agenda is the general evaluator. Since we don't have actually general evaluator, let's give our time to quiz master first. Els, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I can only agree so well. First time in 8 years I had such an engaging counter report. Anyhow, back to the questions. I actually had questions focused on how can we enliven and make our speeches better. For instance, I'm really so hungry for a truly tasty tea. What am I using now? How do we call that? Truly tasty tea. Who remembers? It's an example of?
Alliteration.
Very good, Faisal. Alliteration. Yes, point. So the second one, I actually got that idea when I heard Cecil talking about how a salesperson might actually catch us. But didn't you say it was like he is shooting fish in a barrel? What kind of element of a speech is like shooting fish in a barrel?
A metaphor.
Metaphor.
No.
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 Simile.
Simile. Yeah. It's
Simile.
Simile. I have a very good example of the last one, because one of the speakers actually, he spilled the beans on how you can make a lot of money in the summer holiday. Obviously, he didn't truly spill the beans. So this is indeed what? How do we call it?
Metaphor.
Exactly. So, ladies and gentlemen, keep it in mind, if you want to make your speech more lively, use alliteration, simile, or metaphor. Thank you.
Thank you, Els, and thank you everyone for all this amazing time together. I think I personally get really energy from this meeting. This is actually also my first time this year joining again the Toastmaster meeting, and I feel really very nice and feel very grateful to be here together with you. And as a closing of the meeting, I probably would like to request Fred as the president of the club. Do you have something to say? Please unmute yourself.
I forget it almost all the time. Yes, thank you, Faisal. Thank you for stepping in as a Toastmaster at the last moment. Also, all the guests who fulfilled a role within our club at the last moment. I really appreciate it, and it was a lot of fun to have you participating in our club with your actions. And indeed, especially our man, our counter. Yes, I love the way you brought it. It's you should give a workshop about it, how to do that, because this is really interactive with the audience. We're sitting on the chairs to look at it. But furthermore, I want to proceed to club business. We were talking about evaluation, and luckily enough, we have also a workshop on this. On January 16th, from 9:45 to 2:30, there is a workshop. It's called Evaluate to Motivate. I don't know how much people can attend this meeting, but I recommend you to go to this, because you learn a lot about evaluation. And the one who's giving it, Scott, is a very critical evaluator, so you can learn a lot. What I next want to go to is, of course, our first club contest this year, which is on February the 4th. The time of the Evaluate to Motivate is from 9:45 to 2:30. But I will. You can look at District 59. Otherwise, I will mail it as well. So the club contest, I don't know. Sure, I have to ask Els for about what it is? Is it speeches or is it table topics club contest or a mix?
No, it is indeed international speeches, so you have to have a certain level in order to participate. For those doing pathways, which are most people now, you have to have finished level 2 in order to participate in the international speeches. Evaluations, everybody can participate. Even if you have only arrived last meeting, you can participate. Everybody is welcome for that.
Okay, thank you, Els. Next to that, I will also point your attention to, we have on January 23rd, on a Saturday, we have our club officers training. It's also approximately from 10 to about maybe 5, 4, or I don't know exactly times, but this will be communicated to our club mail. I think I already did that. There's a club officers training is normally for club officers, but as you know, we at the moment we're in shortage of club officers. We have two executives, helps me, and of course we have a lot of members which left our club, also executive members. So I would emphasize to, if you can, it's also good learning to join it and register yourselves, because Toastmasters is about developing leaders, and leadership is stepping up to the plate. In regards to all new members, as a new club, you often have a lot of startup problems, or you miss a lot what a lot of clubs do have, which exist longer. And in this case, it's also a mentor. Mostly in all when clubs exist longer, you can get a mentor within your club. But if there are enough mentors, as you may know or may not know, I recently stepped into the Odyssey project, which is within Toastmasters, which is developing mentors, mentee, and networking progress. I came there by visiting a club in Vietnam online. And this Odyssey project, you can participate as Toastmasters for free from day one. So if you want to be guided and helped to be mentored, you can request a mentor there. And when you rounded up your level 2, when you start at level 3, you will be able to become a mentor yourself, and you can practice your mentorship there as well. So you can do also your mentorship there, also in order to develop yourselves. For instance, who wants to know more, I will also communicate this more in the mailing, of course, especially because I want to grow you quickly within within our club. And of course, we need to grow. And if you know people who would benefit by becoming a Toastmaster, then yeah, I would love to see you bring guests and invite them here to enjoy our evening, and even better, become a member of our club so that we can grow from each other's experiences. And indeed, even when you started from the beginning and you don't have any experiences and you're shy or whatever reason here, the first rule here is to have fun and to learn. And we like to do this in a relaxed way. So, and that's what I do. Last but not least, I would like to ask some of our guests a word of how they experienced our meeting. So since there's only one lady here, I want to ask Eliza how she experienced our meeting here. So if you please can unmute yourself.
Yeah. Hi. Frankly speaking, I saw so many familiar faces here, like Dave, Faisal, Craig, all my friends from all over the world. Same ship from I don't know where I met them. So I love to be here. Sorry, because I'm preparing my evaluation. Actually, it's a meeting that worth it to wake up early in the morning at 2:30 p.m. a.m.
Yes.
Love to be here, and everybody is actually giving a good experience, and everybody give me some little bit that I can bring back to my club in Singapore or even in US.
Hardcore Toastmaster.
Huh? Sorry?
You're hardcore Toastmaster, 2 a.m. in the morning.
Oh no, I'm following Dave. Dave is also sometimes is also 24 hours Toastmaster. Yeah, and like to hear from all of you, because I know every country have their own cultures, and that's the thing that we want to learn. Because now this is my first time to visit Rotterdam and Netherlands, so I'm going to put one pin in my travel map. So thank you very much for the invitation, Fred. I'm very happy to be here. This is something new that I learned from everyone. Even I need to really learn because some of the words like, you know, I know that Europeans, sometimes the way they are talk is the accent is also different, like same like we are in Asia. So to learn from each other and learning the process and the accents is quite interesting. But I'm very grateful to be here, and thank you everyone for having me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Eliza. Love to hear your view of it. Of course, next that I want to have our counter to give me Craig, because yes, I I really enjoyed your way of counting the errors. It was really vivid.
Thank you very much for having me today. I'm coming to you over here from District 95, you know, of course, which consists of Germany, Denmark, Norway, and Sweden. I'm coming to you from Frankfurt, Germany. And also, I am, too, an Odyssey project ambassador, as well as a mentor in the program, which Fred was talking about earlier, which is definitely a very good program for mentees or mentors or networking. And currently, I do have 3 mentors that I mentor under that. And yes, I do help with vocal variety to the best possible way that I can. And yes, I do get compliments about the report that I do. And the only thing I can say is I'm always very humbled by the comments. But what sparked the way that I do that is because I do have a theater background. And one day someone said that the way you do your timer or your all counter, your Marin, or your speech evaluation, just think of it as a mini speech. And I was like, oh, okay, it's a mini speech. I can incorporate my acting in it. And that's what generated the way that I do it. And currently also I'm the District 95 Division F Public Relations Manager. I definitely enjoyed the meeting today. It's hard to believe, yes, I have been doing this since March 12th online. I do have Toastmaster meetings Monday through Sundays. Yes, I said Monday through Sundays. I'm probably about to ready to go to another one now, but yes, definitely enjoyed the speeches. I enjoyed the table topics today, and thank you very much for having me. And yes, Fred, I remember you because I was in that meeting in Vietnam with you that day that I had to introduce the Odyssey project. But thank you very much for having me today.
Okay, thank you. Of course, and indeed, when you have a speech about how to look as an counter, how to bring it, let it know, because I would love to have you as a guest speaker. So that's yes. Okay, thank you very much. And now I'm going to one moment. I'm going to Ireland, to James, which I met also through the Odyssey project.
Hi, Fred. Thanks a lot for the invite here tonight. And it's good to see Craig as well, I've met before, and David Dretsky. And when Fred explained to me this is only a new club, it's hard to believe that because you're very experienced speakers, and you know it was actually a very good meeting, I thought. And the closest I ever got to Rotterdam was a Utrecht. I visited a lot of cities in Europe, like for soccer matches throughout the years. So Utrecht was the closest I ever got to Rotterdam. So maybe next year I might get down there. Like it's a beautiful part of the world, all that, like great for cycling. And I wish you all the best of luck with your club. You have a great president in Fred. I think he's very inspirational. And, you know, try and get behind the club and try and get, you know, do more speeches, take part in roles, and it looks like a very good club. And I wish you all the best for the future. So thanks a lot for the invite, Fred. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for your comments, James. I will visit your club soon as well. So, and we are still two guests here, which I haven't heard yet. I want to go now to Dave Gresby from New York, USA. So, thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. Yeah, I did not get to introduce myself at the beginning of the meeting. My name is Dave Drebsky. I'm an area director in Midtown Manhattan, New York, USA, and Toastmaster of just a few years, going on 4. And yeah, I've definitely been enjoying going around, seeing different clubs in the US and eventually around the world. I've actually been to 73 different countries virtually. Although I didn't make it to Vietnam, unfortunately, and I understand that they're now having live meetings. So I missed that boat, but that's okay. Anyway, I did enjoy this meeting quite a bit. 4 speakers, that's certainly very impressive. Got through it in less than 2 hours. Everyone was very efficient on time. I also really liked Elle's sort of educational segment where she kind of walked us through alliteration and similes and metaphors. The one thing is to note, as a native English speaker, it isn't simile, it's simile. So bear that in mind as you do your different comparisons and speeches. It's certainly an effective tool to use. And my friend Craig Curtis is a master of similes and metaphors. So follow his footsteps. But anyway, thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed the different components of the meeting, and I was very, very impressed by everybody's efficiency in keeping the flow going. So thank you again for having me.
Thank you for your comments, Dave. So now last but not least, I want to ask Nizar as our guest his comments about this evening at the 010 Toastmasters Rotterdam. Nizar, are you still there? Can you please unmute? I hope he's still there.
I think he's not here.
Okay, then okay. As you may have noticed, there's a lot of going on this, that I'm switching with the screens. We are rather experiencing how to work with Zoom. This is why I also use with colors. Next time we can use the program again, which for the timer. Now it was a very improvised, but we installed a Zoom master, which is very necessary in Zoom. And this is also part when you follow the speaker to trainer trainings, which is also a part of Toastmasters. You will be able to also to participate to the European Trainers Network, which is also within Toastmasters Europe. I've been participating there for a few times now, and I think it's very good when you go to a further level to do this as well, especially now since we also want to record the Zoom sessions. We can looking back. For the records, we try to record all Zoom meetings, and for the members, especially the members, we have a link available, which is only for the ones who get the link, because not everyone wants to be visible online. We can also give this to guests if necessary, if they want to do it. But we have a Zoom channel, and everyone who gets the link will be able to see back our Zoom meetings and to look at your how you proceeded, how you can look back at it to learn from, but also learn from others. So, and what I told you before, the best thing what can happen within a club is that you have that you learn from each other. We have, despite the fact that we have a very young club, we are acting official since December 1st, 2019. So very recently we chartered. But I must say I'm very proud of what we already accomplished within our club, and we have a lot of potential within our club. When you look at the speeches that were given at the moment, and of course we love to have guests here as well to see their to experience their view and how they can help us and how we can help them. And of course we also hope that we can visit other clubs as well. So please leave me also when you're from other clubs your details of your club when you're sitting there, so that when it's be able that we also can visit your club and take a look at each other's kitchen, because we have to go across borders. Let's just like with the Odyssey project, we try to grow world. We are one nation. We have all the world, and the more we can bond, the more we get together. So, and with this, I want to close this evening of tonight. So I thank all the participants and all the guests for being here. I loved everything here. I was make the meeting very special. So thank you for being here. Thank you for participating, and hopefully I will see you again next time with our club. You're always welcome at our club. So thank you everyone for tonight.
All right. Thank you, Fred. And thank you, everyone. So let's hope that we will write a new, in the New Year's book for a new history for this one. Thank you very much, and hope to see you guys again soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.